Hi guys, thanks for joining me today. Hope you're all well and safe and having a great day. My day's shaping up very nice. Just on this watercolour sketch in Krita. A gentleman called Nigel Burrows, who's a member of Digital Easel, suggested that I check out the smart paper textures that are now available for Krita. There are three. There's one for watercolour, one for oil painting, and one for pastels. So this is the first of three videos. I'm going to look at all three of the texture papers, canvases, whatever, depending on which medium you're working in, I suppose. And I'm going to try them all out. And this one, it's clearly the watercolour one. Very rarely do I use a textured background in Krita, and I'll show you why. If I choose a texture, I'll just go with that one, I guess, and then choose Edit, Fill with Pattern, we get this repeat pattern. Let's just change the colour there. Use a marker, and you can see it repeats here, here, here. I don't know if it's too visible on YouTube, but it certainly is on my screen, and we've got these vertical lines coming down here as well. So I don't use the textures in Krita. However, if I import my own papers in, that opens up an whole new can of worms about setting up a new layer with the right blend mode and level of opacity to get exactly the right level of texture and not affect the colour that I'm painting too much. But no fear, everybody, there is now a solution. And I'm going to show you what it is. So Krita have upped the game a little bit more, and they've released three smart, tileable, seamless, textured canvases for you to use. One for watercolour, one for oils, and one for pastels. And I've installed them in Krita. Basically what I did, I downloaded them from their website, and I will put a link in the description to the original video that they've released and to the link to get these textures. And we've got a watercolor paper, a pastel paper, and an oil paper. There we go. And I've installed them as templates. So I'm just going to open the watercolor one and use that template. So that will just open up like any other file. And there you can see we've got a absolutely wonderful watercolor paper with lots of texture. Look, that is tileable, and you haven't got those repeat patterns. That looks so much better. And if we look down at the layers list, or the layers tab, just shrink the color a little bit. And maybe can I shrink that as well? Probably a better idea. You can see we've got a series of layers. Now Raymond Miranda, he describes in full detail what every one of these tabs do. I am not going to mess around with them too much. I'll just show you the bottom one. It gives you a clue on the layer F3 to adjust background colour. So when you press F3, it opens up this colour palette, and then I can change the colour. Now I'm not going to change it to something ridiculously dark for watercolour. You really want a white, so the most I'm going to do probably is create a very pale creamy colour. There we go. Something like that, perhaps. Click on OK, and you can see it's changed that background colour. and that's perfect for us for what we're going to do today. And to paint on these, if I choose paint sketch here, I can paint on that. So let's choose. I'm going to do it with charcoal, because charcoal would actually block out, because it's solid medium, it should block out the background. But if I paint here, you can see, if I zoom in, you retain the texture. So long as you paint within these green layers, you're fine. You're going to keep that texture, and you can make adjustments to that, the level of the texture as well. And if I paint here where it says paint here for overlay mode, I'm assuming that means that it's going to block out texture. There you go. So you don't see the texture at all now. That will be really useful when we're doing oil painting. There's loads of other functions, but I'm not going to go through them, because Ramanda has already done a really first-class video explaining all the functions of these. So I'll put a link in the description, so you can go and watch that to find out what all of the functions do. They're all the ones I need today. I just wanted to change the colour. I'm going to try everything else out as standard. So all we need to do now is load up my reference image, and away we go. So let's get that loaded. So this is the image I am going to paint. I've just loaded it into Krita's thumbnail feature, and it's a scene. It's actually at a place called Onforth, and Onforth is where they filmed Last of the Summer Wine. And if you're familiar with this, with the series, up here we've got Nora Batty's house, and down here Cleggie's house, and we went there and we had a cup of tea in Nora Batty's cafe. So it was a fun day out. But anyway, that's the story of the picture. I think I'm going to sketch in this where it says undercolour. I think that's a good place for me to put the sketch. And I've got in my head, oh, that's too thick, that pencil. Let's try a thinner one. Yeah, that's fine. I've got in my head exactly how I want this to look. It's going to be a very delicate little watercolour. So I need to get the sketch in first. I do tend to do much more detailed sketches when I'm doing watercolour, so I will just fast forward the sketching process. Okay, that's the drawing done. I just want to move it slightly. So let's choose the transform tool, and then I can just move that. I'll make it a bit bigger actually. A little bit more of the paper. I think I'm going to use this flat brush, flat decay. What's this one? Big grain tilt. Let's try. Oh, that's nice. I want to kind of get this done in sort of the minimum of strokes. and really loose. So let's see what we can come up with. Keep working over that, and it's not gonna. Well, I've got this sort of heavy colour going on there, which I'm really liking. How's that work with the texture? Can we still see the texture of the paper underneath? That's really cool. And I can use this water. I guess I can like blend away edges with the water, sort of merge bits together, sort of soften that off a bit. Well, I think it's a bit hard. Well, that's very dramatic, isn't it? I kind of like that. Let's stick with that brush, and maybe I might just sort of line it up a little bit. Whoops. Very interesting. I can feel this turning into a monochrome painting. Definitely not what I was thinking about when I started it, but I'm loving it. So this is the what's going off here? Let's just shut that down so I can get my menu back, or read the bottom line. Water C flat grain tilt brush. So I can like pretend there's like loads of shadows being cast by these trees here onto those buildings and the path. Like that. Can use the water to soften it again, I guess. Just blend that up a bit. Take an eraser. Swipe the doors back in. Odd window. Define the edge of that building a bit. Get the water, just blend that off a bit so it doesn't look quite so mechanical. Take my flat brush again. This is not what I intended to do at all, but you know, it's all about the paper for this one, so twisting the brush in my hand to get those sort of textures. Should really be, we should have the darks this side. I'm going to take the eraser, just lift this out a minute. See, there is method to my madness. It looks like I'm just sort of splashing colour on willy-nilly. And I'm not really. I'm not. Sort of blend that in like that. And that gives it this sort of shadow effect of the bushes, I think. Maybe darker there. I like it. And then similar sort of thing here. Let that come into that. Push that away like that. Loads of pressure and very thin wash. Ease the pressure so you're hardly pressing on at all and you get more colour. Then heavy pressure, thin it out a bit like that. And then take the eraser, do the magical bits. Just lifting out those highlights. A few of these leaves. I think I'm going to need another wash to sort of like an underpainting that puts all of this really highlighted stuff with a slight cast on it and leaving this area around the buildings with really just the colour of the paper, perhaps. A few branches in there like that. Yeah, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new layer in between those two. So this is all a good test to see how this template works. Putting layers in where it says paint here, and I want to change the colour. I'm going to keep that. I don't know if I want to keep that brush actually. I might try the widespread, but the water sea spread wide area brush, just because it won't have all of these really brush marks that this other flat brush creates. So what colour shall I use? Make it a little bit cooler, perhaps. Let's try that. And the idea is I just want to put some colour. So we're almost monochromatic, but bordering on analogous. So that looks a bit flat. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to hide that layer a second. Create another new layer and try it with this water sea flat big grain tilt brush, because that's got that lovely texture. Oh yeah, it's got to be that one, hasn't it? It keeps that texture going. The idea is it's just sort of leaves that little bit pure white. I think. I still need the detail in here, so I still need to like lift things out, like this door, that canopy there. Blend the colours together a bit more as well with the water. I think it's working. I think I'm. I'm having just an absolute blast doing this, sort of just messing around. Lifting little bits out, maybe just a teensy bit out there and a bit out there. Maybe we could go in and need a flat brush. I'm going to go with this flat decay tilt and I'm going to make it smaller. Oh, I'm going to pick up this dark blue and I'm going to use it to in a few windows. I could tidy up around this chimney stack as well. So I guess what I'm doing now, I'm just putting in the detail. Those steps there. Keeping the bush thing going off, everything really quite impressionistic, so you got to fill in the detail of that yourselves. Bit of water just at the bottom of those. I like it. I really like this. I do, honestly. It's to me it's been a real experiment, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? I had no idea this is where I was going to take this. I thought I was just going to do sort of a simple watercolour. Just put a bit of brickwork in. I'm using the Water Sea Flat Decay Tilt brush here. These are all the new watercolour brushes, by the way, that came out in 4.3 of Krita. of detail in there. Doesn't need a lot. Do I fill these in, or do I leave them kind of like that? It's abstract shapes. Tell you what I do think I need to do, just maybe chunk the characters up a bit. There's probably a bit of a fence along there, you know. Put one there, couldn't I? A few more. I'm just fiddling now, really. A few more little branches. I'm really happy with how this has come out. Another grungy watercolour. There's a confession time. This is the actual third go I've had at this painting, and I did the first one was just a sort of straight watercolour, then I did one in really vibrant colours, and I didn't like any of them. So, oh, that's a mess, hang on. So I scrapped them all. I'm just going to do a little bit of calligraphy just to define this wall a bit. So I just scrapped those and started again. Well, scrap from the drawing stage. And this, so you know, you don't always get it right. And this was just sort of, I thought I wanted to try something different and, you know, break boundaries. And I think that is it. Let's go back to this really grungy brush again and put a bit of shadow on that wall. Too much, it might be too much. I run the risk of spoiling it. I kind of like that. I like it like that, I think. Yeah, that'll do. Oh. Stephen, sign the thing, sign it. Let's go back to some pencils. Get it signed. Is that a pencil? No, it's not. Sign it with this one. Actually, not that one. Let's try this one. That's better. So there we go. A watercolour painting. I might just do a little bit of pencil work on this. A watercolour painting using the new watercolour paper texture from Krita. I suspect it's been created by Raymond Miranda. He does the video on YouTube on the Krita website of how to set this up. I'll put a link to that because I've not touched on any of these commands. I thought a bit pointless. He's already done it and he's done a good job. So I'll put a link to that video there. There in the description you will find a link of where to get these templates. And so far I've only used the watercolor one, this one, but I can say I highly recommend it. Look at this, just look at the texture. we've got all the way through there in a watercolour paper. That's going to print out lovely. So yeah, get over there, download them. Oh, bit cheeky. If you go to the Krita website, say, "Hi, Steve Elliott sent me." That would be nice. Let them know that I exist and I'm around and doing stuff and supporting them, because you know what? It's a free app, everybody. This is a free app. Look what you can do with it. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. So yeah, that is about it. Links in description below. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think to them. Do you like them? Are you going to go and download them? I'm interested to know what you're up to. That would be cool. So yeah, that's it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, big thumbs up as always. It's much appreciated. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I've got lots of videos like this and I would love to be sharing them all with you. So don't forget, everybody, stay safe, stay sane, and keep painting. And hopefully I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.